Yeah. We are live. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Free Daily Coaching. We have a Mindset Monday, and we're having them on the road again. We seem to be traveling quite a lot lately, and that's a good thing. Moving to the ranch recently, as many of you know, here at Free Daily Coaching, we moved, right? So we moved the whole operation, the whole goat village, all the animals, the whole data center, right? All of our stuff. And we up and moved from Colorado to Northern Nevada. And what that really did was put us a little bit closer to some of my family. So some of my family lives in Colorado, one of my sisters, and then I have 3 other sisters that live in California. So we had a birthday party yesterday for my niece who turned 4. So that was super fun. And so instead of trying to head out of town and excuse me, late yesterday after the party and make a long drive, probably even longer, we decided to stay through and just leave the next morning. And so, it started to make me think, just that idea, it started to make me think about some things about efficiency in what we're doing, right? And so and then what's the mindset behind that? So I was talking to my wife yesterday. So Jessica didn't come this time to the birthday. We're gonna come down as a family later in the year because we're still kind of working on the animal and containment and travel arrangements and people to come, when we're gone. So I was talking to Jessica yesterday about, coming home, and, I love my wife so much, and we have such an amazing thing going with the ranch and so many projects and all the animals and stuff, that when she's not around, I really truly do miss her, right? Like, not having her like there, because we're always, we hang out a lot together. And so, my first instinct was to leave directly after the birthday celebration to start going home, right? It's about a 6.5 to 7 hours, depending on the weather and traffic and the things that that we don't control along the route. That's about the time, right? So I could have theoretically left yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, and done the drive. However, most likely, because of all of the activities of the weekend, of just driving excuse me, the day before down on an all-day drive, and then spending the time with all the kids and all the with your family and doing all of the activities, and being present, you expend a lot of energy, right? A lot of personal energy. Why? Well, you're with your family, and so you know how family dynamics are, right? Everyone has their family dynamics, and so there's all of that energy and emotions and everything, and then the fact about being able to come down and see the kids. And so to be able to leave and drive what probably would be normally 6 to 7 hours would probably end up being 11, 12, maybe 14 hours, right? Because what would happen would be that I would probably get tired. I would want to pull over and take a rest, right? So that I could, continue the drive later. And so then what would normally just be a 7-hour drive then turns into like this big 14-hour project. And then what that does to your mindset, and this is where it was so important, what that does to your mindset is it makes it then not very appealing to do. You're like, right? Because then your mind, every time you think of that, you're like, oh man, that was so crappy. Like, I left and it took so long to get home. I was so tired. It took all this time to, like, get back adjusted to my daily routine. I was just beat. It was just right. So then it puts a mental kind of like a stain on it, when in reality there were other options, there were other solutions. So one of the solutions could be, well, why not just stay, right? Just why not stay, and then you can get up early and leave out, and then make it the same as you did before on the way down, where it's an easier drive then, because you're getting there midday, right? So you get home midday, you're not super tired, it doesn't disrupt the entire flow of what you're doing. So how does that transition? How do we look at that from a mindset perspective? Well, what's your mindset in your business? How are you approaching the tasks that you're required to accomplish, right, to get to your goals? How are you doing that? Are you trying to sometimes like power through and do these like marathon days where you're and I've been there, where you're working, 12, 16, 18 hours a day. It's like you're on the computer forever, right? And there is a time in our business where we got to hustle and we got to, focus and do a lot of work. But I want you to look at that mindset. Are you burning the candle at both ends? And by doing that, creating this impression in your mind about how arduous and how strenuous and how tedious the tasks that you really have to accomplish are. Are you setting that negative mindset up, or are you doing things to mentally prepare yourself so that you can say, hey, what if I finished the XYZ accomplishments today, and then that's it. That's a wrap, because then I can start fresh tomorrow on this next project, or on this next set of steps, or on these next items that have to be accomplished in whatever project you're working on. So the idea of setting yourself up for success, not just in your activities, but mentally. Mentally, if you don't set yourself up for success, things could go really bad quickly, right? And why? Well, because once you go down this like, oh, this is going to be like this always in your mind, hey, this is always going to take too long. This is always going to be too much of a burden. I'm not going to be able to do this. Any of these types of thoughts that are predominantly playing over and over, that mindset isn't going to move you forward. So what are you doing to be able to allow yourself that capability? What are you doing to allow yourself to put yourself in a mindset of setting yourself up for success mentally as well as physically? And having some exposure with my family over the weekend and interacting with my sisters and my cousin and my parents, and one of my aunts was there. Having that interaction, I realized that there was some things in my life and in my business and in my personal life, in both, and I believe that these things they're going to cross over, because what you're doing in your personal life is gonna leach over into what you're doing in business, and vice versa. If you're doing a home-based business, if you're doing something where you're at the center of your business, by having these different exposures, I with my different family members that I don't always get to have that direct contact with, was that I have, in some of my actions, set myself up for success, and in some of my mindset. But in the move and in the transition, some of those pieces I didn't put in place to set myself up for success at times. And by being able to talk to some family members, because they have a different perspective, they could say, hey, have you ever thought of this as an option? Or have you looked at this point of view? Which, by doing that, it opens up your mind. It opens up your mind to new possibilities. So what I want to do for you this morning is say to you and ask the question to you: are you setting yourself up for success mentally and in your actions and in your activities? Now, a lot of times what we do predominantly during the week is we focus on the activities required to get our goals met. And that's great, because that's a bulk of what we have to do, right? 80% of what we have to do is the physical work of getting those steps done. But the other percentage, and let's say it's not 80, I don't know what the percentages are, okay? The other portion of that is setting yourself up mentally to have that success, right? Because here's the reality. We know that going into, and I'm just using the 555 method as an example, going into a marketing session where we're going to go out and generate free leads, let's say, and we're going to use the 555 method. We know going into it, and if you're familiar with the method of lead generation, the 555 method, you know that going into it in the beginning, you're going to have to to do multiple sessions, right? There's going to be multiple sessions required. So more than 15 minutes probably invested in time to be able to get the result that you desire. You know it going in, right? So you're already mentally setting yourself up like, hey, I know this going in, so you're setting yourself up for success, right? If no one told you that, if they just said, hey, listen, first 15 minutes, you better rock this thing out, and that's what you thought you were supposed to do, that the first time you did it ever, you did 5-5-5 and you didn't get the result that everyone else was getting, that they're sharing maybe after they've been doing it for a week, then your mindset is going to be bummed, right? You're not going to have set yourself up for success. So then taking that a step further. So if you already can look at a situation and see that there's going to be multiple different possibilities, right? For failure, for success, different results, different consequences, then you have a clearer, more accurate picture of what could or what may transpire. Then you can set in place, right? You can set in place safeguards to ensure that you succeed. How do you do that? Well, this is one way that quite a few people do it. Every single day they come to the free daily coaching call, right? They go over to www.freedailycoaching.com. And this morning, if you go there, you won't see it. We ran out of computer power. So it'll be there this afternoon. You'll be able to register for the webinars each and every morning, right? So that's one way. There's daily calls that you can plug into. You could go to, there's there's all kinds of different formats on webinars, on Twitter, on Periscope, on Blab, podcasts, phone dial-ins, any way, just think of the medium. There's a way for you to connect on a regular basis and have that as part of what you do on a regular basis. So that would be one piece that you could set in place so that you had set yourself up for success mentally, right? Emotionally, not just for your actions, right? Not just the outline of what's on your schedule of things to do that are like the physical actions that you have to do, but what about your mental success and setting yourself up for that? So then what's the next piece? See, now if we look at the entire landscape, if we now can see what could happen, we now put in safeguards. We have a daily safeguard. Maybe we have a reach out where we connect with other people. Maybe we have a daily gratitude list that we fulfill every day. We start to put in these safeguards now, in addition to looking at the current landscape and seeing what exactly could or would transpire and putting in positive reinforcements there. What we're also doing now is foreshadowing and forecasting what could then possibly happen and adding in additional resources for our success. And I just listed off, right, a multitude of different things that you could add into your schedule. And the cool part is it's your schedule. So you could do it at any time. You could go back and listen to recordings. You could do it while you're driving. You could listen to podcasts while you're driving. You could do it while you're exercising. You could do it while maybe you have meditation time every day. Maybe you exercise every day, right? All of these things are things that you could now put into place so that you have mental success. I want to give an example that has probably flown under the radar here at Free Daily Coaching that some of you may or may not have seen or know about. The first is by our friend Debbie Deerdorf. If you don't know Debbie, then you should go meet her because she does something that's super powerful. And I don't know like what her regime or like how the schedule works as how she does this, but she literally sends out cards of gratitude on a regular basis to just say like, thank you, and you're nice, and I love you, and just wonderful positive messages. And she does this on a regular basis that she sends to people, right? And it's not just, I know it's not just me because I, know other people that get Debbie's cards, right? So that's one thing that you could add in. How do I know that that's amazing for her, one of her pillars of success? Well, I know that every day or every week or every month or however she sets that up, that she gets to sets down a specific amount of time that she goes and focuses on appreciating other people. And that's phenomenal. Now I want you to look at something else. I don't know how many of you guys are getting Chris Schaus's news feed, but every single day, Chris Schaus stuff. I never asked her. I just read it and appreciate it. Every single day, Chris Schaus does a post that's like an affirmative message from the universe to herself, right? So every single day in her routine, she's literally grabbing a positive message of affirmation and posting it. So not only is she saying it, she's reading it, she's then typing it, she's posting it out to the world and declaring it, right? So she's like internalizing the entire process, and she's doing it over and over and over on a regular basis. What that does is it allows Chris to have that ability to have to like set herself up for success, right? And she put it in place so that it's always there. It's like something that she does on the regular basis. She doesn't, it's probably at this point, she's done it so often now that it probably is just something that she does, right? She doesn't even have to think about it. She just goes and does that every day because that's part of what she does on a regular basis. Do you have that in your life? Whatever it is, whether it's an affirmation message, whether it's exercise, whether it's meditation, whether it's anything from this list, are you setting yourself up for success? And then are you taking it a step further and putting in cornerstones? Are you really building yourself a solid foundation? I would propose to each and every one of you that if you're not doing this, that doing this is going to be the best thing that you can do. Because check this out. What happens is this. What happens is when you find challenges, when you find weaknesses, when you find that there's areas that you can improve, you no longer beat yourself up. You no longer say, oh man, I could do this, I should have done this. What you do is say, okay, how can I improve in this? How can I set up things for in the future so this doesn't occur, or so that I can make this better? How can I get even more proficient at this? That's what happens. And when you start to set more of those safeguards in place, you start to give yourself more opportunity to be able to do that, so that when you go off course, when you, right, sometimes you make a left turn in Albuquerque and you're like, whoa, I didn't mean to do that, right? When you do that, you don't veer that far off. You're able to recenter. It's like, imagine like on a roller coaster, it's like you're not going up, right? It's not, the roller coaster clicks up to the top aren't as high, and then when you go down, they're not so low. So it's like the peaks and valleys aren't so high and low. You're not swerving so much. You're able to stay on a smoother course. So I know that I didn't articulate that as clearly, that whole entire thought process that I had, that I wanted to share with everyone, but I think that you got the idea. I think that I was able to grab enough little examples to show you that setting yourself up for success in the area of taking action in your marketing and the actual application of marketing is one thing. The other part of that is doing the mental back end, so that when you get down, when you run into obstacles, when you have challenges, you're able to overcome them and persevere and become the champion that's inside of each and every one of you. Because this is what I believe. I believe that all of us have greatness inside of us. We all have these gifts that we're given, whether they're realized right now and you're realizing your gifts or not. There's any time you can decide to discover them and to decide to explore how to channel those gifts and then how to share them with other people. And I believe that this business that we're all in gives us the unique opportunity to be able to do that with each other in a way that is like nowhere else. It's like nowhere else. You can't connect with people that I've seen in any other setting like we can, because of the relationships that are developed and because of the relationships that you can develop. So I suggest that you go out, set yourself up for success mentally by putting in place more pieces and more pieces of backup reinforcement for yourself to keep driving yourself forward to become the best version of you so that you can go out and share your gifts as you're developing them. And guess what? If you don't know what they are and you're just trying to figure out what they are, it's okay. While you're discovering yours, leverage and show the world that you can recognize that in other people. And by doing that, you'll be on your way. You'll have taken another step towards setting yourself up for success. I want to thank Chris Schaus for being in the house this morning and giving us a road simulcast broadcast from the road and being the backbone and giving us the internet connection. And I want to thank each and every one of you that are here this morning for supporting us at Free Daily Coaching, for showing up for yourself each and every day. We've got some big things happening this week, you guys. We're going to have a great Tech Tip Tuesday this week. We've got a great Wild Card Wednesday. We've got a big Wednesday webinar coming up. I want to see everyone should be out there promoting for this Wednesday webinar. Starting today, tomorrow, all through Wednesday, hit your email list. You should be hitting all of the social media marketing, any and all of that you're doing. You should be inviting people to this webinar. Why? Well, we're making a big release for the platform if you're using the My Lead System Pro platform. And then as well, we're going to have Ray Higdon on the webinar. As you all know, there's a contest going on with Ray's product. So if you want to get in on some contest action, you can get in on that. And you're going to get training and you're going to have Ray helping promote. So what could be better than having literally a master help you do all the heavy lifting, and all you got to do is point people to where to go. So I'm really excited about this week. I'm really excited to get back in the loop here, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being here this morning. We'll see you guys the next time.